Hey everyone, it's Colleen, and today I'm coming to you with, I guess, the first video in our debt-free series. It is just going to be me today. I originally thought I wanted Jordan to be here, but I'm really in the mood to film this right now, and he's actually at work. He's at his second job that he just got recently, and that's part of our journey, so that'll be kind of explained. But this is our debt history and our debt backstory and why we decided to start our debt-free journey and where this all came from, because honestly today's been a very rough day as far as this goes. I'm sorry if I look a little rough. I've been crying on and off all day. We had a lot of stuff happen, and I feel like today was probably one of the best days to do this because I want this to look back on to see how far we've come. Already in the past 3 months since we decided to do this, it's been huge ups and downs, more downs than ups. But it's been a really real trial, but we're getting through it, and it's really been a testament to us and our relationship and how well we work together and how good we are at communicating with things, because we weren't very good at it. So to start off, growing up, he and I, neither of us really were introduced to budgeting of any kind. We had never been told about budgeting. We both had jobs in high school and everything else, and we basically use that money to pay for what we wanted to do. In high school, like, I would literally just, any paycheck would be gone. I worked 2 jobs and I had nothing. I had nothing to show for it. And then I decided to go to college, and something happened with my father. My father ended up being sick. So instead of going away to a 4-year school like I originally planned to, I ended up going to a county college, which was probably one of the best money decisions I ever made. And it's really sad that I was 18 years old when I made it, and have made worse decisions since then. But I went to our local county college and ended up paying my way through it. So I didn't have any loans from that. I didn't have any debt from that, which was great. At that point, I didn't even have a credit card. I was doing really well. Didn't have a car payment, nothing. My parents had bought me my first car. And I had, like I said, I had 2 jobs. I was paying my way through county college, and everything was great. Then I transferred to a 4-year school to finish my bachelor's degree. And at that point, I made some poor decisions. I went to school less than an hour from home and decided I wanted to live on campus to experience everything that college had to offer. So I ended up going to a fairly expensive state school, living on campus with 0 money set aside for it. My parents couldn't help me. My parents did not co-sign a loan with me. I took out every single one of my student loans, and when all was said and done, there's about $45,000 worth of them. And in that time when I was in school, I opened up my first credit card, and from there it snowballed. By the end of it, I ended up with probably around 7 credit cards in total, between store cards and major credit cards that were just being used, not paid. I'd pay the minimum balance, but I would never pay them off. And that got me into a really, really bad situation. So we're going to pause on my story. I'm going to kind of backtrack to my husband a little bit. He ended up going to school. He had a scholarship to a local school and decided he wanted to move to another state and go to a school where he did not have a scholarship. He took out some loans for that, but I guess luckily debt-wise, otherwise he did not finish school and ended up coming back home. So he doesn't have a lot of student loan debt. His actual loans are almost paid off at this point, which is fantastic. So that's kind of something that's on the horizon for us. And before he met me, he never had a credit card. I met him, I was 25 years old. He was 20. He had never had a credit card, never had a car payment, nothing. He didn't own a car. No. His car died like right before we met, and he never got a car after that, until a few years down the line when we were living together, and I think we were engaged at that point. So he never got a credit card and decided to open one up, which is fine. He had no credit. He wanted to build credit because that's what you're told to do. And then he decided to, a couple years into our relationship, he decided that he wanted to propose to me, which is wonderful. I'm very happy he did, but he had to open up a credit card he went to Kay Jewelers and opened up one of their credit cards. So we now have that credit card and the other one from him. So those are really the only 2 he has, which is great because they're a little easier to control. So for 2.5 years of our relationship, he did not have a car. I drove us everywhere. My car, I had paid off in 2014. I paid my car off, and we decided that at the point we could buy him a car. So we financed one. So we have a car payment now. So then we are planning our wedding. We are given money from my parents. We are paying for some of it, and we were told by his grandparents we would be getting money from them. So 6 months before our wedding, we found out we weren't going to be getting money from his grandparents. And we were at this place where we were like, okay, we were told we were going to get thousands of dollars from them, and we can't pay our vendors. So we had to go to the bank and get a personal loan out because parents had already paid for pretty much half of our wedding. It wasn't a very expensive wedding. It was done very, very, very inexpensively. That wasn't big, huge wedding, not us. Like it was very, very, very inexpensive for what it was. And it was an amazing day, and I don't regret a single second of it. But it was very, very stressful because in that time I also lost my job. So we were planning a wedding and just found out we weren't getting money from people who said we were going to be getting money to, and I lost my job. So it was a huge hit on us, and we didn't realize the toll it would take until months later when I started defaulting on credit cards. Kind of sidebar, we never talked about money. Well, we did. We would talk about money and we would fight. It would just cause a big fight and an argument, and we would just stop talking about it. We didn't have a plan in place. We didn't have a budget. We would overdraft constantly. Like, it was like a buffer for us. Like, okay, this is going to be paid, but it's going to overdraft our account, but that's fine because it's going to get paid. And that's not a way we wanted to live anymore. So a few months ago, I think at the beginning of this year, I started watching Emily from Favorite Daughter Emily, and she kept talking about I found Financial Peace University through her. And I was like, I don't know if that's something that Jordan, my husband, would be into. But I'm like, but let me see what I can do. So I ordered the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And I got it in the mail and I let it sit there for a little bit. And then one day we were talking about finances somehow, and I was like, you know what, listen. This is what we're going to do. We're going to write down everything that we owe. Every bill we have and when it gets paid. Because at that point we had no idea. We were just kind of scrambling. We had never had joint accounts before. We just got a joint account in October. So we were just, it was a matter of like, he used to like transfer me money so we could pay our rent and stuff. It was just a mess. So we got a joint account and we decided to open up a calendar and place every single payment that we had. And that was the point where I was able to be like, listen, I have this book and he hates reading so much, but it turned into a thing for us. Every night until it was finished, we would read part of it and then discuss it. And then it really sunk in for us that this is possible. This is something that's attainable for us. So we need to give it all we can. And by the end of the book, we cut up every single one of our credit cards. I have a shredder. They went through the shredder, and we have not touched them since, which has been fantastic because at least we're not creating more debt for ourselves. And that's one of the biggest things that we've done so far. We've been able to do so far because we've had all these things. So shortly after that, we started an emergency fund. Within 2 weeks, my husband had gotten into a car accident. We had to pay a $500 deductible we had nothing for. So we've borrowed money from my parents at this point for that. And now we are back at rebuilding, and with everything that's been going on lately, it's just been so hard. I feel like the hole keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's harder for us to dig ourselves out of. But at the same time, we have a sense of relief knowing that we have a budget and we know what we can afford and we know we're going to be okay. Probably one of the biggest slaps in the face during this whole thing was I was talking to my parents about this and talking to my father, and he recommended, he's like, you don't own anything, you don't have a home, why don't you just file for bankruptcy? And that kind of like slapped me in the face. I just finished reading the Total Money Makeover, and it kind of slapped me in the face because I'm like, This is a problem I got myself into. If it was like massive amounts of medical debt, maybe, because that's really hard to handle sometimes. But this is something I got myself out into, and I know deep down I can get myself out of it. And it's really, really helped. In the first year of marriage is the hardest one, and we have a good grasp on things because of this. We're able to talk about money for the first time without getting into huge massive arguments and it ruining our night. We're able to really see to the future and know that we're going to be okay. We're able to plan for the future, and you know, we want to start a family soon, and so we're able to know that we're going to be okay, and we're going to teach this to our kids so they're not going to get into the same habits that we did, because we are digging ourselves out of a huge hole we created for ourselves. So I guess I am rambling at this point. I don't even know. It's just something I really wanted to get out and wanted to get off my chest more than anything for myself. Because in those times where this is hard, and this is gonna get probably even harder before it gets better. It's been getting worse before it gets better. But that's with anything, that we have a plan in place and we know it's going to be okay, and I can look back at this and see how far we've come. Because even in the first few months, we've come so far. We have nothing saved yet. We're getting there. We've been trying to get our ducks in a row. We actually have $78 in our emergency fund. We have something. I have something in a savings account, and we haven't had that in years. We've been together for 5 years and we've never had that. And even that little amount is amazing. We have a jar of change we're going to trade in that's going right into our emergency fund. And as soon as we get that emergency fund started, I'm going to start paying back people. I'm going to pay back my dad. I'm going to pay back our debt. We're going to do so many things. I'm at this point so excited for the future that we can have for ourselves, because we have this plan in place. Now that I'm done rambling, I think that's it. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you want me to do a follow-up, if you want Jordan to do kind of a story of his, I know he'd be more than happy to. This is just really something I needed to get off my chest tonight, because it's been a very emotional, long day. So that's our story. That's our backstory with debt. I know it's rambly and long and confusing, but I hope this makes some sort of sense to anybody and it can help anybody. This is our beginning, and I hope you stay through till the end and see us become debt-free, because that's going to take us a while. We have a lot of debt. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on and on and on. Thank you for the support. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, and have a fantastic day, guys.